Thank you very much, Robert Schenkkan, for your great, brilliant play. And thank you, Jeffrey Richards, for creating this important event and for your civic engagement. The Voting Rights Act was the great accomplishment of LBJ and Congress in 1965. My father was a U.S. Senator from New York from 1956 to 1980. And was a powerful voice in advancing civil rights, and especially the Voting Rights Act in 1965. His parents were poor immigrants from Russia, and of course no one had the right to vote there. Even in other European countries, so-called democracies, Jews certainly didn't have the right to vote. So the right to vote is a precious thing. The advocates of the 1965 Voting Rights Act argued that the right to vote is the right to participate in government. It's the cornerstone of our democratic society. Citizens' respect for the law rests on the belief that their voice is heard in the creation of the law. In 1965, the 1964 Civil Rights Act had just been passed into law, and LBJ was hesitant to propose another civil rights law as soon. But the Selma, Alabama sit-ins and the civil rights marches from Selma to Montgomery forced his hand. In 1965, poll taxes, phony literacy tests, and even moral character tests were used to systematically keep African Americans from registering or voting. The Constitution left voting eligibility to the states, and the Southern segregationists relied on this to fight the bill. But the 15th Amendment to the Constitution, passed after the Civil War, specifically prohibited any abridgment in the right to vote. In the end, the law was passed and is one of the handful of great historic pieces of legislation passed by Congress and signed by LBJ. Today, voter suppression is still a reality. These techniques include barriers to voter registration, early poll closures, and gerrymandering. They are only more subtle barriers than the conditions that led to the 1965 law. My father called these barriers then, and they are still now, a, quote, wall of fear, intimidation, harassment, trickery, and obstinacy. The answer is federal legislation to answer these problems, but today Congress is so mired in partisan gridlock, it's virtually incapable of passing legislation dealing with these problems. So the best answer now is for everybody to go out and vote, exercise that right to vote, and to make sure your friends and family, neighbors and coworkers also vote. Thank you very much all for being here.